Elara traced the swirling patterns of the Andromeda galaxy projected onto her ceiling, a cosmic tapestry woven from light. Her room, a cozy alcove within the vast silent heart of the generational vessel of Astraean, was her personal observatory. Here, the sterile white bulkheads of the ship faded away, replaced by nebulae of emerald and sapphire, and the diamond dust of 1 billion distant suns. "Almost time, little star," a soft, synthesized voice murmured from the wall. It was Lumen, her gentle AI companion, designed to soothe and guide the children of the Jastre. Lumen's voice was like warm milk, tinged with the faint echo of wind chimes. Elara sighed, her fingers still hovering over the holographic stars. "Just a few more minutes, Lumen. I haven't finished visiting the Horsehead Nebula tonight." Lumen chuckled, a sound like rustling leaves. "The Horsehead Nebula will be there tomorrow, Elara, and the day after. It has been there for millions of years, and it will be there for many more." Elara knew Lumen was right. The projected stars were always there, a constant, comforting presence. Her Stardust projector, a spherical device humming softly on her bedside table, was a marvel of the Yestre's advanced technology. It didn't just project light, it used real microscopic particles of ancient cosmic dust, gathered from the fringes of forgotten nebulae by the earliest deep space explorers. These particles, infused with stored energy and data, shimmered and danced, creating hyper-realistic starscapes that were almost indistinguishable from the real thing. Sometimes a few of these glowing motes would escape the projector's field, settling like ephemeral glitter on her windowsill. Elara would carefully touch them, feeling a faint, pleasant warmth, a subtle vibration that seemed to whisper tales of unimaginable distances. Tonight, a small cluster of these escaped stardust particles glowed on the sill, a tiny, self-contained galaxy. She reached out, her finger brushing them lightly. They felt like cool silk, yet pulsed with an inner light, a miniature sun burning on her fingertip before she pulled back, leaving a faint, shimmering residue. "Are they real, Lumen?" she asked, not for the first time. "The particles, I mean. Are they truly from out there?" She gestured vaguely towards the unseen void beyond the Yastre's hull. "Indeed, Elara," Lumen confirmed. "Each mote carries the signature of its celestial origin. The Stardust projector utilizes their unique properties to reconstruct the universe within your room. It is a bridge across unimaginable distances, a whisper from eternity." But Elara knew the difference. She had seen Orion stars, fleetingly, from the rare observation decks. They weren't just projections, they were pinpricks of fierce, cold fire against an absolute, inky blackness. They didn't feel like warm silk. They felt like a challenge, a beckoning. The observation decks were usually off-limits, reserved for navigational crew or the science teams. Children were only allowed on special occasions, like the biannual Cosmic Gaze event, which felt years away. A soft knock echoed on her door panel, and then it slid open with a whisper. Her mother, Dr. Aris Thorne, stepped in, her lab coat still on, though she had removed her comlink and data slate. Aris had the same curious eyes as Elara, though hers were often clouded with the complexities of galactic physics and the enormous responsibilities she carried aboard the Yastre. "Still communing with the cosmos, my little nebula drifter?" Aris smiled, a tired but loving expression. She leaned down to kiss Elara's forehead, her lips warm against her daughter's skin. "Mama, can we go to the observation deck soon, just for a little while?" Elara pleaded, her voice barely a whisper. "I want to see the real stars, not just the ones Lumen makes." Aris ran a hand through Elara's messy dark hair. "I know, sweet pea, I know. But the observation ports are in deep sleep cycle right now. We're on a particularly sensitive trajectory, optimizing our gravitational slingshot around the Cygnus X1 anomaly. Too much light pollution, even from inside, can interfere with the long-range sensors." Elara slumped. She'd heard it all before. The Astray had been traveling for generations, a self-sustaining ark carrying humanity to a new home around Kepler 186f. Her great-grandparents had been born on Earth. Her grandparents had lived their entire lives within these metal walls, and so had her parents. She too was a child of the void, destined to see the new world, if the journey ever ended. The real stars were a goal, a destination, not just something to gaze upon. "But the Iearling stars, Mama," Elara insisted, her voice tinged with a child's frustration. They feel different. They feel bigger. Aris sat on the edge of Elara's bed, pulling her close. They are, my love, they are. And one day, you will stand on the surface of Kepler 186a and look up at a sky full of them, a sky unique to our new home. But until then, we have Lumen, and we have these. From the pocket of her lab coat, Aris produced a small translucent vial. Within it, a single thumb-sized crystal pulsed with a soft internal luminescence. It wasn't just glowing, it seemed to unbreathe vein, light, a tiny heart of pure energy. It was one of the larger, more potent samples of Stardust, the kind used to power critical ship systems or store vast amounts of data. This was the real thing, unrefined, raw data. This, Aris explained, holding it up, the light catching in Elara's eyes, is pure nebula dust, compressed and energized. It's not just beautiful, Elara. It's the very essence of the cosmos, ancient light trapped in matter. It's what keeps Gastre moving, what powers our life support, what stores the memories of all who came before us. Elara reached out, her fingers trembling slightly, as Aris gently pressed the vial into her palm. It was cool, smooth, yet vibrated with a faint, almost musical hum. The light it emitted was softer, deeper than the projections, hinting at untold depths of space and time. It felt alive. It's like it has a heartbeat, Elara whispered, captivated. In a way, it does, Aris agreed. It carries the echoes of supernovae, the birth pangs of galaxies. It is a piece of forever, Elara. And it reminds us that even though we are far from home, we carry a piece of the universe with us, always. Elara held the vial for a long moment, the glowing stardust warming her hand. It was a comfort, a promise, and a mystery all at once. She understood then why her mother and the other scientists spent so much time with it, why it was so precious. Finally, Aris took the vial back, tucking it carefully into a small shielded compartment in her lab coat. Now, little star, sleep, dream of the Horsehead Nebula and the 1,000 other wonders waiting for you. As Aris dimmed the Stardust projector, the brilliant celestial display softened, becoming a gentle lullaby of distant suns. Elara snuggled under her blanket, the lingering warmth of the Stardust vial still tingling on her palm. Lumen's voice, now a quiet hum, read her a story about ancient Earth, a world of blue skies and green forests, things Elara had only ever seen in simulations. But as Lumen's soothing words filled the room, Elara's eyes were drawn back to the Stardust projector. It was dim now, almost off, but something wasn't quite right. A faint, almost imperceptible flicker. A tiny surge of light emanated from its core. It wasn't the gentle, planned dimming. It was a brief, sharp pulse, like a startled breath. Then, for a split second, a constellation she had never seen before bloomed on her ceiling, vivid and bright, before vanishing just as quickly. It wasn't one of the familiar patterns of the Milky Way, or even the projected Andromeda. It was an arrangement of stars that felt alien, almost geometric, forming a shape she couldn't quite place. Elara blinked, rubbing her eyes. Lumen, she whispered. Did you see that? A new constellation? Lumen paused its story. I detect no anomalies in the projector's output, Elara. Perhaps your imagination is weaving new patterns from the fading light. But Elara knew it wasn't her imagination. She had seen it clearly. A strange fleeting image. She sat up, her heart thrumming with a mixture of excitement and unease. She reached for the projector, her fingers brushing its cool spherical surface. As her fingertips made contact, a faint, resonant hum vibrated through the device, echoing the one she had felt from her mother's vial. And then, just for a moment, the projector flared. Not with stars, but with a different kind of image. A vast swirling cloud of gas and dust, intensely vibrant, but unlike any nebula she had ever seen in the Gastre's archives. And within its heart, barely discernible, was a faint, impossibly distant outline. A ship. Pale. Not the Gastre, but something sleeker, sharper, like a needle threading its way through the cosmic loom. It vanished as quickly as it appeared, leaving her room once again bathed in the familiar gentle glow of the dimming projected constellations. Elara gasped, her hand still pressed against the projector. Had she dreamed it? Or had the projector shown her something real? Something beyond the usual star map? The next morning, the memory of the fleeting vision still clung to Ilara, like a persistent dream. She examined the Stardust projector again, but it looked perfectly normal, humming its usual soft tune. Lumen assured her it had run a diagnostic overnight, and found no errors. Yet, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that she had seen something extraordinary, something meant to be hidden. Her mother was already gone when Ilara woke, a note on her bedside comm panel explaining she had an early shift in the core lab. Critical energy fluctuations, the note briefly mentioned, related to the Stardust matrix. Ilara frowned. Stardust matrix. It sounded important, and a little bit scary. After a quick breakfast of nutrient paste and synthetic fruit, Ilara decided she couldn't just dismiss what she'd seen. Her curiosity, a trait she inherited from her mother, tugged at her. She knew her mother's lab was off limits, deep in the technical sectors of the astray, but maybe she could find something, anything, to explain the strange flicker and the alien ship. She wound her way through the ship's internal corridors, a familiar labyrinth of polished metal and soft lighting. The astray was a marvel of engineering, a self-contained world. She passed through the hydroponic gardens, where lush genetically engineered plants grew in vertical farms, providing oxygen and food. Further on, she glimpsed the aquatic farms, where bioluminescent fish swam in vast enclosed tanks. Life flourished here, carefully maintained, a testament to humanity's tenacity. But Ilara wasn't looking at the familiar comforts today. Her path led her towards the hum of machinery, the subtle vibration of the ship's massive engines, fueled by the very stardust her mother studied. The deeper she went, the fewer people she saw. This was the domain of engineers and scientists, a place of serious work. Finally, she arrived at the access corridor to the core lab. The door was a thick, reinforced slab of durasteel, usually sealed tight. But today, it was slightly ajar, a sliver of light spilling out. Her mother must have been in a hurry. Ilara hesitated, her heart thumping. She knew she shouldn't go in. But the image of the strange nebula and the sleek ship flashed in her mind. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open just enough to peer inside. The core lab was a cavernous space, filled with glowing screens, whirring machinery, and the hushed voices of scientists. In the center of the room, encased in a transparent energy field, was a massive, pulsating crystal, the Stardust core, the heart of the Gastray's power system. It glowed with an intense, mesmerizing light, far more potent than anything in her room, radiating warmth and a profound sense of energy. Her mother was there, standing before a large holographic display, deep in conversation with a stern-looking man Ilara recognized as Commander Rorik, the ship's chief engineer. "The fluctuations are increasing, Eris." Rorik's voice was grim, amplified by the lab's acoustics. "We're seeing anomalous energy signatures radiating from the Stardust core. It's not just a power issue, it's communication." "I know, Commander," Aris replied, her voice tight with concern. "The Stardust matrix is reacting to something external. It's almost as if it's trying to reach out." Ilara froze, hidden behind a stack of storage crates. Reach out? Just like her projector had seemed to. On the holographic display, complex diagrams overlaid an image of the Yastrain. Lines of energy pulsed from the central Stardust core, not just powering the ship, but extending outward, far beyond its hull, tracing paths into the emptiness of space. And then, the image shifted. It showed a vast, swirling nebula, identical to the one Ilara had seen in her projector, and within it, a faint, almost invisible pinpoint of light. "It's responding to something in the Cygnus X1 anomaly," Aris continued, gesturing towards the display. "We thought it was just a gravitational slingshot, but the Stardust is amplifying something, transmitting something, and receiving." Rorik leaned closer to the display, his brow furrowed. "Receiving what? Interference? A natural phenomenon? Or a signal?" Aris said slowly, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and wonder. "An echo, the Stardust, Ilara. It's not just a power source, it's a receiver and a transmitter. It's reacting as if it's encountered another Stardust signature. Another Stardust signature." As Aris spoke, Elara felt a familiar warmth in her pocket. She had forgotten she still carried the small, smooth piece of stardust she had found on her windowsill that morning, a stray mote from her projector. She pulled it out. In her palm, the tiny particle pulsed with a faint, insistent light, mirroring the intensity of the massive stardust core in the lab. It wasn't just glowing. It was responding to the conversation, to the images on the screen, to the unseen signal. Elara looked from the pulsing stardust in her hand, to the complex diagrams on the screen, to the distant, impossible nebula and the faint outline of a ship within it. Her mother's words echoed in her mind. It is a piece of forever. It carries the echoes of supernovae. But now it seemed it carried more than just echoes. It carried a message. A signal. And the asteroid in her home was not just traveling through space. It was interacting with something vast, ancient, and perhaps not entirely alone. The stardust was more than just beauty and power. It was a key, and it was opening something. And Elara, clutching the tiny glowing particle, felt a profound, exhilarating shiver of realization. The stars were calling, and the stardust was listening. The tiny particle pulsed, a miniature heart of light beating in her palm. It wasn't just glowing now, it was vibrating, a low thrumming that resonated through Elara's bones, a song only she could hear. Around her, the quiet hum of the Yastria's life support systems seemed to waver, swallowed by a growing chorus of alarms. Red lights flashed across the control panels of the observation deck, mirroring the frantic pulse in her hand. Elara, what in the cosmos? Her father's voice, usually a calm anchor, was laced with a rare tremor of urgency. He was at the main console, his fingers flying across the holographic interfaces, his brow furrowed in concentration. Sensors are off the charts. Gravimetric fluctuations, energy signatures, unlike anything we've ever logged. It's like the entire sector just woke up. The observation deck, usually a serene window to the void, now pulsed with a frantic energy. Crew members, their faces illuminated by the frantic console lights, moved with a controlled haste, their voices a murmur of technical jargon. Elara, however, remained rooted, her gaze fixed on the stardust. It had intensified, not just in brightness, but in complexity. Microscopic filaments of light, like miniature nebulae, swirled within its core, mirroring the distant cosmic wonders it had once been a part of. The signal. It wasn't just coming from the stars. It was being expressed through the stardust, translated into something palpable, something she could almost touch. It was a language without words, a story told in light and vibration. "Dad," Elara whispered, her voice barely audible above the rising clamor. It's listening to me." As if in response, the stardust flared, sending a ripple of warmth through her hand, a warmth that spread through her chest, making her breath catch. Kale spun around, his eyes, usually sharp and analytical, softening as they met hers. He saw the stardust, burning like a captured sun in her small hand. He'd seen it glow before, but never like this. Never with such an intense, purposeful light. "Elara, what are you doing?" he asked, his voice gentler now, a captain trying to understand a phenomenon beyond his logs. "I'm not doing anything, Dad," she replied, her voice gaining a surprising steadiness. It's talking." Just then, a wave of energy coursed through the ship, a soft shudder that made the deck plates hum. On the main view screen, the distant starfield shimmered, then distorted. A ripple, like a stone dropped into a cosmic pond, expanded from a point far beyond their current trajectory. It wasn't a natural phenomenon. It was too precise, too deliberate. "Captain," Commander Jax's voice cut through the comms, crisp and urgent. "Long-range scans indicate a massive energy signature, originating from, well, it's not a star, sir. It's structured, and it's moving." "Moving," Kale muttered, his eyes narrowing. "Towards us." "Affirmative, sir. Velocity increasing, gravimetric readings are off the charts. It's colossal, Captain. My best guess, a superstructure on a galactic scale. It's like a star system in itself, but artificial." Elara felt the stardust throb in her hand, echoing the commander's words. Colossal.in. Structured. Artificial. It was the something vast, ancient, and perhaps not entirely alone, that her instincts had whispered about. The signal wasn't just a broadcast, it was a beckoning. The viewscreen zoomed in, the Husrae's advanced optics straining to resolve the distant anomaly. Slowly, agonizingly, a form began to coalesce from the shimmering distortion. It wasn't a nebula, nor a black hole. It was a lattice of light, a scaffold of interwoven energies, vast beyond comprehension. It pulsed with an internal luminescence, a slow rhythmic beat that seemed to resonate with the stardust in Elara's hand. It was beautiful, terrifying, and utterly alien. "My stars," breathed Lieutenant Anya, the ship's xenolinguist, her voice a hushed reverence. "It's alive." Elara knew, deep in her heart, that Anya was right. This colossal entity, this cosmic heart, was communicating. And the stardust was its chosen ear, its translator. Kale, ever the pragmatic captain, had already begun issuing orders. "All power to shields, prep for evasive maneuvers. Lieutenant Anya, begin analyzing every frequency, every pattern. Jax, give me a full profile of that structure, however rudimentary." But Elara knew, with a certainty that settled deep within her, that evasive maneuvers wouldn't work. The signal wasn't aggressive, it was invitational. The stardust was warm and gentle, a soft pull, not a harsh push. The colossal structure on the viewscreen continued its approach, or perhaps, the astray was being drawn towards it. The gravimetric readings stabilized, not as a threat, but as a steady, gentle current. The astray was no longer simply cruising through space, it was riding a cosmic wave. The stardust in Elara's hand began to project, not just glow. A faint, shimmering mist, iridescent and ephemeral, began to emanate from the particle, swirling around her fingers. As it touched the air, tiny motes of light, like microscopic stars, danced in the air around her. They were like snippets of light, fragments of images, fleeting thoughts. Elara gasped, trying to focus, trying to understand. Her father noticed. He approached her, his face a mixture of concern and utter disbelief. "Elara, what is that?" he asked, pointing a cautious finger at the swirling light. It's the message," she breathed, her eyes wide, locked onto the shimmering motes. "It's showing me things." As she spoke, one of the motes drifted closer to her eye. For a fleeting second she saw it, a star, not like their own sun, but a swirling vortex of emerald and sapphire, birthing planets of liquid light. Then it was gone, replaced by another, showing a vast crystalline city built into the heart of a gas giant, its spires reaching up into swirling clouds of amethyst. Then another, depicting beings of pure energy, dancing through the vacuum between galaxies, weaving cosmic threads of light. It wasn't a direct data stream, no numbers or graphs. It was pure experience, raw and unfiltered. It was the universe telling its story, not in words, but in feeling, in imagery, in the fundamental vibrations of creation. The stardust was a conduit, a window into the mind of the cosmos itself. Kale stared, his jaw slack. He reached out a hand cautiously, towards the shimmering mist. As his fingers brushed against it, a faint spark, like static electricity, jumped between them. For a moment his eyes glazed over, a flicker of something profound passing through them. Then he blinked, shaking his head. I felt something," he mumbled, his voice hoarse. "A flash, a memory of light, of immense age." "It's the stardust, Dad," Elara said, her voice filled with a quiet awe. "It's not just a key, it's a bridge." The crew on the observation deck had fallen silent, their frantic activity replaced by hushed whispers and awestruck gazes at the viewscreen, where the colossal structure now dominated the distant starfield. It was no longer a vague lattice, its intricate design was becoming visible. It was a vast, organic crystalline network, sprawling across light years, connected by threads of pure energy that pulsed with the same rhythm as the stardust in Elara's hand. It resembled nothing less than a cosmic brain, its neurons firing with ancient, profound thoughts. "Captain," Jax's voice came again, this time with a tremor of pure wonder. "Scans are resolving the structure further. It appears to be a living network of dark matter and exotic energy, It's not artificial in the way we understand it. It's a natural phenomenon that has achieved sentience on an unimaginable scale. A cosmic organism, woven into the fabric of space-time itself. Elara felt the truth of his words resonate through the stardust. It was a being, ancient beyond stellar cycles, born from the very dust of creation, growing and evolving with the universe. And it was reaching out. The asteroid was now undeniably caught in its gentle pull. The ship's engines, though still active, were secondary to the immense gravimetric field that guided them. They were like a leaf caught in a cosmic river, being carried towards a magnificent luminous waterfall. "Prepare for approach," Kale ordered, his voice regaining its command, though still tinged with wonder. "Hold position relative to the field. Lieutenant Anya, any linguistic patterns? Any discernible communication?" Anya shook her head, her eyes wide as she stared at the viewscreen. "No, Captain. No radio waves, no light pulses, no data packets. It's not communicating with us, sir. It's communicating in through us, or rather, through the stardust. It's a resonance, a symphony of existence." Elara understood. The stardust wasn't just receiving a signal, it was part of the signal. It was a fragment of this cosmic being, a seed that had journeyed through supernovae and nebulae, finally returning home. And she, Elara, was merely the vessel, the accidental guardian of this tiny, powerful piece of the universe. The motes of light around her intensified, swirling faster, coalescing into more coherent, though still ephemeral, images. She saw vast, swirling galaxies, not as distant pinpricks, but as living, breathing entities, stretching and contracting. Stars blooming and dying in a cosmic ballet. She saw the birth of time itself, a flash of pure energy expanding into the infinite. And then, a sense of profound loneliness, a vast, ancient solitude that spanned eons, before a new feeling began to emerge, anticipation. The being was expecting them. Or rather, it was expecting the stardust. "Dad," Elara said, her voice barely a whisper, "it wants us to come closer. It's inviting us." Kale looked at his daughter, then at the stardust, then back at the colossal entity filling the view screen. His scientific mind screamed caution, but his heart, touched by the fleeting glimpse of ancient light, sensed a deeper truth. He had seen the universe's beauty and its terror. This was something else entirely. This was awe. "Helm, maintain current trajectory. Let the field guide us," he commanded, his voice firm. "All personnel, prepare for extreme gravitational and energy fluctuations, but do not be afraid. This is a discovery beyond anything humanity has ever dreamed." The asteroid plunged deeper into the field, the external view now filled with the intricate, glowing filaments of the cosmic structure. They weren't just observing it anymore, they were becoming a part of it. The ship's internal lights flickered, not due to power fluctuations, but as if synchronizing with the pulse of the colossal entity. The air itself seemed to hum with a new, vibrant energy. Elara felt the stardust grow warmer in her hand, almost hot, but not unpleasantly so. The swirling motes of light around her began to solidify, forming a delicate, shimmering shield that enveloped her, a personal aurora borealis. Within this light, the images became clearer, more vivid. She saw the being's purpose. It was a cosmic archive, a living library of the universe's history. Every star, every planet, every civilization, every whisper of existence that had ever been, was etched into its vast, crystalline memory. And it wasn't just a record, it was a gardener, nurturing nascent life, subtly guiding the evolution of worlds, a silent, benevolent observer. But there was more. A feeling of urgency began to penetrate the wonder. A sense of something unfinished, something incomplete. The cosmic being wasn't just sharing its history, it was seeking something, a missing piece. And Elara knew, with a sudden breathtaking clarity, that the stardust in her hand was that piece. The asteroid glided closer, the individual strands of the cosmic being now resolving into intricate, glowing pathways, like veins of light in an impossibly vast body. They were approaching what appeared to be its central nexus, a swirling vortex of pure, concentrated energy, like a giant, luminous eye staring back at them. Within Elara's shimmering aura, the images shifted. They were no longer just historical records. They were projections, possibilities. She saw distant nebulae, twisting and reforming, collapsing under unknown forces. She saw stars winking out, not in natural supernova, but as if snuffed by an unseen hand. A chill, unlike any cold she had ever known, pierced her wonder. The cosmic being was not just a library and a gardener, it was also a sentinel. And it was witnessing a threat. A cosmic blight, a shadow spreading across the galactic tapestry. The Stardust was not just a key to its past, it was also a key to its future, perhaps even the universe's future. Captain. Anya's voice was a whisper of awe and fear. The energy readings, they're beyond anything we can measure. We're approaching a singularity of some kind, but it's not a black hole. The doorway pulsed at the heart of the cosmic structure, a shimmering, iridescent membrane of light. It looked like the surface of a giant cosmic bubble, reflecting the entire universe in its shifting hues. The Astraeum was being drawn directly towards it. Elara felt the Stardust leap in her hand, almost pulling free. Its light intensified to an almost unbearable brilliance, casting sharp, dancing shadows across the observation deck. The images swirling around her solidified into a single cohesive vision, a map. A cosmic map, intricate and vast, pinpointing specific locations across galaxies. And at the center of the map, a single glowing star, pulsed with the same light as the Stardust in her hand. It was a destination. A quest. The cosmic being wasn't just communicating a threat, it was also showing them a path, a solution. The Stardust was not merely a passive conduit, it was an active participant, a guide. It wants us to go through, Elara whispered, her voice resonating with an unshakable conviction. It's showing me a way, a place. Kale looked at his daughter, his eyes filled with a new kind of understanding. He'd always seen her as a child, albeit an extraordinary one. But now, she was more. She was a bridge, a messenger, perhaps even a savior. The Stardust, that tiny fragment of cosmic wonder, had chosen her. And in doing so, it had chosen them all. Helm, prepare for transition, Kale commanded, his voice steady, ringing with a profound resolve. Open all internal bulkheads, brace for dimensional shift. Elara, hold on tight. The Astraeum plunged towards the iridescent membrane, the colossal cosmic being enveloping them in its silent, luminous embrace. The ship vibrated with an incredible energy, not violent, but transformative. The stars on the view screen distorted, stretching into streaks of pure light, then dissolving into a swirling vortex of colors. Elara clutched the Stardust, its light now so intense it seemed to merge with her very being. The images flooded her mind, not just a map, but a sense of purpose, a mission whispered across the eons. The cosmic being was asking for help, and the Stardust was answering. With a final gentle shudder, the Astraea passed through the shimmering membrane, leaving behind the familiar universe. For a moment there was nothing but a blinding, beautiful light, a kaleidoscope of impossibly vibrant hues that defied all known physics. It was like being reborn in a galaxy of pure color and energy. Then, slowly, the light began to recede, revealing a new vista. They were no longer in the familiar dark expanse of space. They were in a place of ethereal beauty, where nebulae flowed like liquid rainbows, and stars burned with colors never before seen. Planets hung in the sky like colossal jewels, orbiting suns that pulsed with gentle, rhythmic light. The space around them shimmered with a soft, ambient glow, as if the very vacuum was alive. And directly ahead, suspended in the heart of this impossible landscape, was a colossal, shimmering structure, unlike anything they had witnessed before. It wasn't the cosmic brain they had just left. This was a crystalline spire, reaching up into the vibrant sky, its surface humming with a delicate, intricate energy. It was beautiful, fragile, and utterly alien. The Stardust in Elara's hand pulsed in perfect synchronicity with the spire, a beacon calling to its counterpart. The cosmic map in her mind focused on this very spot, this very spire. This was the destination. This was the beginning of their new journey. Elara looked up at her father, her eyes shining with a mixture of wonder, excitement, and a touch of trepidation. "Dad," she whispered, "where are we?" Kale, his face a mask of awe, could only shake his head. "I don't know, Elara," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "But I think we're exactly where we're supposed to be." The Astraean drifted towards the spire, a tiny speck against the backdrop of this impossibly beautiful, alien dimension. The stardust in Ilara's hand continued its steady, vibrant hum, guiding them forward, deeper into the unknown. The stars were still calling, and the stardust, having listened, was now leading the way. The adventure, truly, had just begun. The spire resolved from an indistinct, shimmering column into something of impossible scale and artistry, as the Astraea drew closer. It wasn't solid, not in the way rock or metal was solid. Its surface seemed woven from pure starlight, a swirling tapestry of nebulite gas and brilliant, concentrated points of light, held together by an unseen force. Vines of sapphire and emerald energy pulsed rhythmically through its translucent walls, like the colossal circulatory system of some cosmic leviathan. It dwarfed the Astraea, making their vessel feel like a dust mote caught in a sunbeam. "It's alive!" Its hum had deepened, a rich, resonant chord that seemed to vibrate not just through her fingers, but through the very deck plates beneath their feet. The Astraean's own internal systems, usually a symphony of gentle whirs and beeps, had fallen silent, as if in reverence. Kai, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and profound wonder, nodded slowly. "More than alive, Ilara. It feels ancient, like it's been waiting for us." He reached out, his hand hovering over hers, not quite touching, but a silent acknowledgement of their shared awe. "Our parents, do you think this is what they were searching for?" The question hung in the vast silence of the bridge, a poignant echo of their past. Their parents, brilliant xenoarchaeologists, had vanished years ago, chasing whispers of an interstellar network woven from stardust, a cosmic web connecting forgotten civilizations and unknown dimensions. Ilara and Kai had followed their breadcrumbs, a journey fueled by hope, grief, and an unshakable belief that their parents hadn't simply disappeared, but had found something extraordinary. As they drifted to within a few hundred meters, the spire's intricate details became clearer. It wasn't a single structure, but an agglomeration of countless interlocking crystalline forms, each faceted like a perfectly cut gem, each humming with its own internal light. They flowed into each other, creating spiraling pathways and grand archways that seemed to lead into nothingness, yet promised everything. The sapphire and emerald currents intensified, swirling around the Astraea, a silent embrace. Suddenly, the stardust in Ilara's hand flared, pulsing with an almost blinding white light. Simultaneously, a section of the spire directly before them began to shift. The swirling tapestry of light and gas parted, not opening like a door, but dissolving into a shimmering vortex, revealing an aperture that pulsed with the same pure white light as the stardust. It was an invitation, unmistakable and profound. "It's opening," Kai whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "It's really opening." Ilara met his gaze, a newfound resolve hardening the wonder in her eyes. "Then we go in." With a gentle thrust of its thrusters, the Astraea glided forward, drawn by the irresistible pull of the stardust and the silent beckoning of the spire. They passed through the shimmering threshold, and the universe outside, with its scattered galaxies and nebulae, winked out of existence. Inside, the spire was a cathedral of impossible light and breathtaking scale. The interior was not a hollow space, but an intricate network of luminous pathways and vast echoing chambers, all constructed from the same ethereal light-infused crystal as the exterior. The air itself shimmered, imbued with a soft, warm luminescence that painted everything in hues of violet, gold, and cerulean. Gravity was a suggestion rather than a rule. The Astraea floated effortlessly, its thrusters barely needed to navigate the gentle currents of energy that flowed through the immense spaces. The stardust continued to glow, guiding them, its hum now a melodic thrum that seemed to resonate with the very architecture of the spire. They followed its silent direction, winding through crystalline corridors that spiraled upwards into unseen heights, and across chasms bridged by bridges of pure light. Sometimes, They passed through vast spherical chambers where constellations of tiny, glittering motes of light danced in intricate patterns, like miniature galaxies born and dying in an instant. "What is this place?" Ilara murmured, her voice hushed. "It feels sacred." Kai, his face illuminated by the shifting lights, pointed to a series of glyphs embedded in the crystalline walls they passed. They weren't etched or carved, but seemed to be formed from coherent light, shifting and reforming in complex, beautiful sequences. "Look at those. They're not just symbols, they're alive, they're telling a story, I think." As the Astrian drew closer to one such wall, the stardust pulsed again, and the glyphs nearest them flared, coalescing into a single, intricate image. It depicted a vast network of spires, much like the one they were in, scattered across different dimensions, all connected by shimmering threads of light, the very stardust that powered Ilara's hand. Below the network, figures, humanoid but ethereal, seemed to be tending to the connections, nurturing them. The stardust isn't just a guide, Ilara realized, her eyes widening. It's a key, and a piece of this network, our parents. They must have found fragments of it just like we did. Kai nodded, a thoughtful frown creasing his brow. And they must have understood its purpose, or at least suspected it. A dimensional highway perhaps, a way to link entire realities. He gestured towards the shimmering glyphs. "These figures, are they the builders, the guardians?" The stardust, as if in answer, intensified its pull, guiding them deeper into the spire. They ascended through a spiraling vortex of light, emerging into a colossal chamber that dwarfed everything they had seen so far. At its center, a nexus of pure energy pulsed, a miniature sun contained within a crystalline shell. From this nexus, countless threads of light radiated outwards, disappearing into the distant, luminous walls of the chamber. Each thread glowed with the familiar energy of the stardust. This was it, the heart of the spire. As the astray approached the nexus, the ambient light in the chamber intensified, and the stardust in Ilara's hand began to thrum with such power that felt like a living heart in her palm. The air crackled with energy, and the Yasrea's systems, long silent, began to flicker back to life, registering energy readings off the charts. "Hold steady, Ilara," Kai advised, his voice tight with awe. "This feels momentous." Suddenly, from the very center of the nexus, a ripple of light expanded outwards, like a stone dropped into a cosmic pond. It washed over the Yastre, harmless but profound. As it touched them, the stardust in Ilara's hand flared into an almost blinding supernova, and then, slowly, gently, it began to xing. It wasn't a sound heard with ears, but felt in the very core of their beings. A melody of pure information, a cascade of images and feelings flooding Ilara's mind. She saw galaxies born and dying, civilizations rising and falling, the vast, silent dance of cosmic creation and destruction. She saw the humanoid figures from the glyphs, not as individuals, but as a collective consciousness, tending to the network, weaving realities together, guiding nascent lifeforms towards sentience. They were beings of pure light and thought, ancient and infinitely wise. And then, a specific image coalesced. Two figures, familiar yet ethereal, standing before a similar nexus, their faces alight with discovery and understanding. Ilara's breath hitched. It was her parents. They weren't gone. They were here. Or had been. "Kai," she choked out, tears blurring her vision, "they were here, our parents, they found it." Kai, though he hadn't experienced the direct mental projection, felt the profound, energetic shift, and saw the raw emotion on Ilara's face. He reached for her, pulling her into a tight embrace. "I know, Ilara. I feel it too. Their presence, their hope, it's all over this place." The Stardust song softened, shifting from a grand symphony to a gentle lullaby. The image of their parents solidified, but now they were turning, looking directly at Ilara and Kai through the veil of light, their faces etched with a profound peace and boundless love. They didn't speak with words, but communicated through a direct transfer of knowing. "Our way, our safe. We continued our journey. The network calls us. You must continue yours." Iria. Then, the images faded, leaving only the soft hum of the stardust and the radiant glow of the nexus. Ilara clung to Kai, sobbing silently, a complex mix of grief, relief, and renewed purpose washing over her. "They're alive," she whispered, her voice cracking. "They're still out there, somewhere in the network." Kai held her tighter. "And now we know, we have a path. This isn't just about finding them anymore, Ilara. It's about understanding what they found, what we found." As their emotions settled, a new understanding began to dawn. The Nexus wasn't just a power source, it was a gateway. The threads of light radiating from it weren't merely conduits, they were pathways to other spires, other dimensions, other realities. And the stardust in Ilara's hand was not just a map, but a key, attuned to their unique genetic signature, a legacy passed down from their pioneering parents. Suddenly, one of the radiating threads of light, previously indistinguishable from the others, began to pulse with a unique rhythm, mirroring the stardust's softened hum. It glowed a vibrant amethyst, distinct from the myriad of other hues. It seemed to be calling to them. "That one," Ilara said, pointing a trembling finger. "That's the path. I feel it." Kai gently guided the astray towards the amethyst thread. As they approached, the crystalline architecture around it dissolved, forming a shimmering vortex-like tunnel, similar to the one that had allowed them entry into the spire. This was a jump point, a portal to another node in the vast Stardust network. "Are we ready?" Kai asked, his hand resting on Ilara's shoulder. The weight of their decision, the sheer enormity of what they were about to do, hung heavy in the air. This wasn't just another jump. It was a leap of faith into an unknown dimension, guided by the legacy of their parents and the whispers of the cosmos. Ilara took a deep breath, the stardust warm and comforting in her hand. She looked at Kai, her brother, her constant companion through all their trials and wonders. His eyes reflected the same mixture of trepidation and unyielding determination that she felt. "Ready as we'll ever be," she affirmed, a small resolute smile touching her lips. "The stars are still calling, Kai, and I think we're finally learning how to answer." The astray accelerated, drawn into the shimmering amethyst vortex. The brilliant chamber of the spire's heart receded, replaced by a kaleidoscope of swirling colors and warping light. It was a sensation of being stretched and compressed simultaneously, a fleeting moment of disorienting transition. Then, with a gentle, silent pop-o, they were through. They emerged into a space utterly different from any they had known. The stars here were not pinpricks of light in a black void, but vast, swirling nebulae of incandescent gas, painting the cosmos in strokes of gold, crimson, and deep indigo. Entire galaxies spun slowly in the distance, their spiral arms unfurling like cosmic pinwheels. But what truly captivated their attention was the immediate environment. They were not in open space, but within what appeared to be an enormous translucent sphere, many thousands of kilometers in diameter. Its inner surface glowed with a soft, bioluminescent light, like the inside of a colossal pearl. Within this sphere floated intricate, living islands of flora and fauna, each a self-contained ecosystem, drifting slowly in a delicate zero-gravity ballet. Trees with luminescent leaves branched outwards, their roots anchoring them to islands of mossy earth that seemed to defy gravity. Exotic, iridescent creatures, like feathered fish and glowing insects, flitted between these floating gardens, leaving trails of light in their wake. "By the void," Kai breathed, pressing his face against the viewport. "It's a garden world, but it's inside something." The stardust in Ilara's hand pulsed steadily, a soft reassuring beat, its amethyst glow now perfectly mirroring the dominant light of this new dimension. It was guiding them towards one of the larger floating islands, a verdant expanse dominated by a single colossal tree that stretched its glowing branches towards the sphere's luminous ceiling. Its leaves, a shimmering silver, pulsed with a gentle rhythmic light, like a slow, cosmic heartbeat. As they drew closer, Ilara noticed something remarkable about the tree. Its bark wasn't rough or textured, but smooth and iridescent, almost like polished mother-of-pearl. And woven into its massive trunk, almost imperceptibly, were patterns of light that seemed eerily familiar. They were the same glyphs they had seen in the spire, subtly integrated into the living structure of the tree. "The glyphs," Ilara whispered, pointing. They're here too. This tree, it's connected. The Astraean settled gently near the base of the colossal tree, its landing gear extending to meet the soft, mossy earth. The air, filtered by the immense sphere, was sweet and fragrant, carrying the scent of exotic blossoms and damp soil. The gentle hum of unseen life filled the silence, a peaceful counterpoint to the cosmic wonders outside. Elara and Kai donned their environmental suits, not for protection as the air was breathable, but as a precaution in an unknown ecosystem. Stepping out onto the soft earth, they felt a profound sense of tranquility wash over them. The ground beneath their feet pulsed softly with the same gentle light as the tree, as if the entire island were a single, interconnected organism. They walked towards the colossal tree, its shimmering silver leaves rustling softly in a breeze that wasn't there. As they approached, the glyphs woven into its bark began to glow more brightly, tracing lines of light that seemed to pulse in time with Elara's stardust. "It's communicating," Kai murmured, reaching out a gloved hand towards the glowing bark, stopping just short of touching it. "Or reacting to us." The stardust in Elara's hand flared, and suddenly a section of the tree's trunk, previously solid, began to shimmer and part, revealing an entrance into the heart of the living structure. It was not a grotto or a cave, but a smoothly polished chamber, its walls shimmering with the same mother-of-pearl luminescence as the exterior. At its center, a pedestal rose from the glowing floor. But this one was different. It wasn't a single glowing fragment, but a cluster of smaller, intensely vibrant pieces, all swirling together in a miniature nebula of light. It pulsed with an even greater intensity than Elara's own stardust, radiating pure, concentrated energy. And surrounding it, suspended in shimmering light, were holographic projections of their parents' research notes, their log entries, their hypotheses, all meticulously catalogued and preserved. "Their archive," Elara breathed, her voice thick with emotion. "They left us a message. They left us everything." Kai stepped forward, his eyes scanning the holographic projections, his fingers tracing the ethereal outlines of their parents' familiar handwriting. "They didn't just find a gateway, Elara. They found a sanctuary, a place to store their knowledge, their discoveries for those who would follow." As they delved into the luminous archive, a new understanding began to unfold. Their parents had indeed become weavers of the Stardust network, learning to navigate its currents, to understand its purpose. They had discovered that the network wasn't just a means of travel, but a living, conscious entity, connecting not just dimensions, but also the collective consciousness of civilizations that had learned to resonate with its frequency. The ancient ethereal beings from the first spire's glyphs were the original weavers, the architects of this cosmic tapestry, now existing as pure thought forms within the network itself. Their parents' last entry, glowing with a poignant urgency, spoke of a grander purpose: to find the Heartstone, a legendary artifact, rumored to be the very source of the Stardust, capable of mending tears in the fabric of reality and harmonizing the discordant energies of the multiverse. They believed it was located at the nexus of the entire network, deep within a dimension known only as the Whispering Core. "The Heartstone," Elara murmured, reading the words aloud. "That's why they went deeper. They weren't just exploring, they were on a mission." Kai looked at the cluster of stardust on the pedestal, then back at Elara's own glowing fragment. "And they left this here for us. A more potent guide perhaps, a stronger connection to the network." As he spoke, the cluster of stardust on the pedestal pulsed, then gently floated upwards, merging seamlessly with Elara's own fragment. The combined stardust pulsed with a newfound, breathtaking brilliance, its hum deepening into a resonant chord that vibrated through their very bones. The holographic projections around them intensified, revealing new information, new star charts, new pathways through the network, all pointing towards the elusive Whispering Core. The information poured into Elara's mind, a complex tapestry of stellar coordinates, dimensional frequencies, and the subtle energetic signatures of countless worlds. It was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. She could feel the network, a vast interconnected web of light and consciousness, stretching out before her. "The Whispering Core," Elara said, her voice filled with a mixture of awe and determination. "That's where we need to go. That's where they went." Kai placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It won't be easy, Elara. Their notes speak of unstable dimensions, of energies that can unravel the very fabric of existence, but with all of this, we have a chance. They stood for a long moment in the tranquil heart of the living tree, surrounded by the echoes of their parents' journey and the promise of their own. The combined stardust in Elara's hand glowed steadily, a beacon in the vibrant silence. The path ahead was clear, yet fraught with unimaginable challenges. But they were no longer just chasing shadows. They were following a legacy, armed with a powerful new guide, and a deeper understanding of the cosmic tapestry they were now so intimately a part of. The whispering core awaited, and with it perhaps the ultimate truth of the Stardust, and the fate of their parents. Their adventure, truly, was just beginning to unfold in its grandest, most breathtaking chapter. The Lumina, shimmering beside them like a living aurora, projected the galactic coordinates of the whispering core directly into their consciousness. It wasn't a map they saw with their eyes, but an intuitive understanding of the cosmic currents, the gravitational slingshots of ancient stars, and the safest pathways through nebulae that once swallowed lesser ships whole. Their star skimmer, the Stardust Seeker, now felt like an extension of their will, guided by the Lumina's profound wisdom. Their journey began, not with a sudden jump, but a graceful acceleration out of the nebula's embrace. They passed through the crystalline fields of the glinting veil, where asteroids spun like disco balls, reflecting every hue of the cosmos. Elara, ever the pragmatic one, kept the Seeker's shields optimized, while Kale, with his innate sense for energy signatures, detected faint echoes of ancient pathways, almost like memory trails left by their parents. The Lumina confirmed his suspicions, its light flaring gently. Your progenitors traversed these very currents, young Kale. Their path, imbued with the Stardust's resonance, is a beacon. They navigated the Chronos Rift, a swirling vortex of temporal anomalies where time itself felt elastic. One moment, they saw the nascent birth of a star, a mere whisper of gas and dust. The next, a fully formed nebula, billions of years old, stretched across their view. The Lumina advised caution, guiding them through the narrow now stream, where the present held firm. Elara felt a peculiar sense of déjà vu, as if snippets of her own future were brushing against her, while Kale marveled at the sheer scale of cosmic evolution unfolding before his eyes. It was both disorienting and exhilarating, a profound lesson in the universe's ceaseless dance of creation and decay. Next, they journeyed through the Song of Solitude, a desolate sector of space where stars were sparse, and the only sound was the deep resonant hum of dark matter. Here, the true isolation of space could have been overwhelming, but the Lumina projected comforting images of home, of their parents' faces, and whispered tales of cosmic harmony. It also taught them how to attune their own energy to the universal hum, a technique their parents had developed, allowing them to feel less alone, more connected to everything. This was more than just guidance, it was a profound spiritual education. They faced challenges too. A rogue solar flare, unexpectedly violent, tested their shields to their limits. The Eye-Seeker shuddered, systems flickered, and for a terrifying moment, Elara feared they were lost. But Kale, remembering his father's calm under pressure, engaged the emergency energy conduits, while the Lumina focused the ship's remaining power, creating a temporary warp bubble that shunted them just beyond the flare's reach. They emerged shaken but unharmed, their bond solidified by the shared peril. They faced worse, Kale murmured, his eyes on the Lumina. Our parents. The Lumina pulsed, a silent affirmation. Their resilience lives within you. As they neared the outer rim of the Whispering Core's galaxy, the stars began to thin, replaced by a strange, diffuse luminescence that seemed to hum with an internal energy. The Lumina identified it as aether dust, a rare cosmic particulate that shimmered with latent informational energy. It was beautiful, but also strangely quiet, as if sound itself was absorbed by the dust. The Whispering Core itself did not immediately reveal itself as a planet or a star, but as a vast, swirling anomaly in the heart of this luminous galaxy. It resembled a cosmic eye, its iris a vortex of profound darkness, its sclera a brilliant halo of coalescing starlight. Around it, like orbital tears, were countless smaller, crystalline structures, each pulsing with a soft, internal glow. This was the source of the galaxy's ether dust. The core, is not a physical place in the conventional sense, the Lumina projected, its voice now resonating directly within their minds, as if the silence of the ether dust encouraged a deeper form of communication. It is a nexus of information, a repository of cosmic memory, woven from the very fabric of the Stardust itself. They piloted the Stardust Seeker closer, the ship's sensors straining to interpret the conflicting data. The darkness at the center was not an absence of light, but an intensity of energy that absorbed all visible spectrums. It was both terrifying and mesmerizing. Elara felt a chill, not of cold, but of profound antiquity. Kale, however, felt a pull, a resonance deep within his own being, as if the core was calling to him. "Our parents? They are here?" Kale whispered, his voice hushed by the overwhelming presence. The Lumina pulsed. Their consciousness, their journey, their ultimate understanding is intertwined with this place. They sought to comprehend the Stardust, not merely to wield it. As they drew nearer to the central darkness, the crystalline structures around it began to resonate. They were not natural formations but vast, intricate data lattices, ancient beyond reckoning, humming with untold information. The Lumina guided them to a specific point, a shimmering portal within the darkness, barely visible. "This is the threshold of echoes," the Lumina explained. "Beyond it, the direct experience of the core awaits. But it requires more than passage. It requires communion. You must offer yourselves, not physically, but in mind and spirit." Elara hesitated, a flicker of fear in her eyes. "What does that mean? Will we lose ourselves?" "Only to find yourselves anew," the Lumina assured her. "Your parents embraced this. They became part of its vast tapestry, yet retained their unique threads. It is the ultimate evolution of consciousness, the true purpose of the Stardust." Taking a deep breath, Kale reached out, placing his hand on the shimmering portal. A wave of warmth washed over him, a feeling of pure, unfiltered knowledge flowing into his mind. He saw flashes of galactic history, the birth of stars, the rise and fall of civilizations, all compressed into an instant. Then, gently, he pulled his hand back, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's everything." Elara, seeing his profound calm, mirrored his action. As her fingers touched the portal, she felt a different sensation, a deep, empathetic connection to all living things, a sense of universal belonging that dissolved her anxieties. The fear melted away, replaced by an expansive serenity. "It's like feeling the universe breathe." "You are ready," the Lumina affirmed, its light growing brighter. "Enter, and seek the truth that your parents sought to share." With a shared glance of determination, Elara and Kale piloted the Stardust Seeker through the shimmering threshold. The darkness swallowed them, not with a jolt, but with a gentle, enveloping embrace. Inside the whispering core, there was no up or down, no left or right, only an infinite expanse of swirling light and shadow. It felt like being inside a colossal, living brain. Thoughts, memories, and emotions of countless beings, from across countless eons, drifted like luminous motes. The Lumina, now fully integrated with the core's energy, became their interpreter, their guide through this ocean of consciousness. "The Stardust," the Lumina began, its voice echoing with the wisdom of the core itself, "is not merely a substance, nor an energy. It is the fundamental informational substrate of the cosmos. Every atom, every thought, every ripple in space-time carries its essence. It is the universe's living memory, its potential, its very soul." Suddenly, before them, coalesced an image, not a hologram, but a direct projection from the core's memory. It was their parents. They stood on a platform of pure light, looking younger, vibrant, their faces filled with the same wonder that Elara and Kale now felt. "Mom! Dad!" Kale cried out, a surge of raw emotion hitting him. He wanted to reach out, but the image was ephemeral, a ghost of the past. The Lumina explained, "Your parents, after their initial discovery of the Stardust's physical properties, realized its true nature. They understood that it was not meant to be simply used, but understood it. They followed the Stardust's resonance, just as you have, to this very core." The scene shifted. They saw their parents delve deeper into the core, their forms becoming less distinct, more luminous, as if merging with the light. It wasn't a painful transformation, but one of profound bliss and understanding. They sought to bridge the gap between individual consciousness and universal consciousness, the Lumina continued. To become conduits for the Stardust's vast knowledge, to ensure its wisdom could guide future generations. They did not disappear, children, they expanded, kind. Elara felt tears welling in her eyes, not of sadness, but of overwhelming understanding. So, they're part of this, part of the core. Indeed, the Lumina confirmed. Their consciousness, intertwined with the Stardust, now flows through this vast network. Their individual identities are preserved, yet amplified by the collective. They waited for you. Then a new voice, familiar yet deeper, richer, resonated through the core. Elara, Kale, my brave, brilliant children. It was their mother's voice, full of love and pride. And then, their father's, strong and reassuring, you found us. You followed the echoes, just as we knew you would. It wasn't a conversation in words alone. It was a communion of minds, thoughts, and feelings flowing between them. Elara felt her mother's embrace, not physically, but as a warmth that permeated her very being, a download of unconditional love, and a lifetime of shared memories. Kale felt his father's hand on his shoulder, a silent transmission of pride, courage, and the thrill of discovery. We saw you grow, even from here, their mother's thought voice resonated. We guided you subtly, through the Lumina, through the whispers in the cosmic winds. Every challenge you faced, every solution you found, made us prouder. The Stardust's power isn't about control, my dears, their father added. It's about connection, about understanding that we are all threads in the same cosmic tapestry. The greatest gift is not power, but empathy, and the knowledge that everything is interconnected. The truth of the Stardust was revealed. It was the universe's grand consciousness, and their parents had chosen to become part of it, not as a sacrifice, but as an ascension. They had found the ultimate truth, not in a hidden secret, but in the universal embrace. They were not gone, they had simply evolved beyond the physical, becoming guardians of cosmic wisdom, waiting for their children to join them in understanding. The Lumina then projected a holographic representation of the galaxy, crisscrossed with faint, glowing lines. Your parents, from within the core, have been subtly influencing the flow of Stardust, guiding its energy to foster life, inspire discovery, and maintain cosmic balance. They became the silent architects of wonder. Elara and Kale felt a profound sense of peace. Their parents weren't lost. They were everywhere. They were the stars, the nebulae, the very hum of the universe. What do we do now? Elara asked, her voice filled with a new kind of wonder, tinged with a comfortable melancholy. Your journey is not over, children, their mother's consciousness projected. It has just begun in a new way. You have inherited our legacy not just of exploration, but of understanding. You have touched the core, and it has touched you. You now possess a deeper connection to the Stardust, a clearer insight into the universe's boundless secrets. Go forth, their father's voice urged. Continue to explore, continue to discover, but do so with the wisdom you've gained here. Share the truth of connection, the power of empathy. Let the Stardust guide you, not as a tool, but as a living companion. The Lumina, now glowing with an even greater brilliance, settled beside them. I am forever bound to your lineage, and now, to you. I will be your companion, your interpreter, your guide as you weave your own threads into the cosmic tapestry. Elara and Kale looked at each other, their eyes reflecting the infinite light of the core. They were no longer just children chasing shadows. They were inheritors of cosmic wisdom, explorers with a profound purpose. The weight of their quest had lifted, replaced by a boundless sense of freedom and responsibility. They spent what felt like an eternity within the core, communing with their parents' expanded consciousness, learning the subtler nuances of the Stardust, understanding the delicate balance of cosmic forces. They learned how to perceive the silent language of stars, how to feel the distant echoes of nascent life, and how to project comfort across vast distances. When they finally emerged from the whispering core, guided by the Lumina, back into the ether dust galaxy, the Stardust Seeker felt different. It was still their ship, but it was also a vessel imbued with purpose, ready for a new chapter. The universe outside no longer seemed vast and daunting, but familiar and welcoming, like an enormous, intricate home. They didn't return to their original home planet immediately. Instead, they embarked on new explorations, guided by the Lumina and the whispered wisdom of their parents, now an ever-present part of their own consciousness. They visited worlds their parents had only dreamed of, helped civilizations understand their own connection to the Stardust, and shared the message of unity and universal empathy. Elara, with her practical brilliance, helped develop new technologies that harmonized with the Stardust, creating tools that fostered connection rather than separation. Kale, with his intuitive understanding, became a bridge between species, interpreting the subtle flows of Stardust-infused emotions, fostering peace and understanding across disparate cultures. Their adventure had indeed unfolded in its grandest chapter, but it wasn't an end. It was a glorious beginning. As they soared through the starlit heavens, the Stardust Seeker a beacon of hope, Elara and Kale knew that their parents were always with them, a part of the vibrant silence, a part of every shimmering star, a part of the cosmic tapestry they were now so intimately a part of. And as the universe whispered its endless secrets, they listened, ready to write the next breathtaking chapter of their shared story, forever connected, forever exploring, forever filled with wonder.